Picture yourself back in elementary school. The bell rings and everyone jumps up out of their seat, eager to get to the next place. But we're not going to class. No, 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 no. We are going to lunch, everyone's favorite moment of the day. Can you remember what was on your tray? Because for me, it was microwave pizza, chicken nuggets, chocolate milk, and cookies. Back then, this was glorious. Nothing but sugar and starches to keep me buzzing all day long. But what if, all of a sudden, you looked up from your plate of delicious food and realized you're not in school at all? In fact, you're now an adult sitting in the cafeteria of your state's high security prison. You might be surprised, but in today's video, we're going to see who has the better food, our kids or our felons. Bon appetit. Welcome back to American Move Out, putting freedom and wellness first. On one side, we have a meal that might feed millions of American students every single day. On the other, food given to prisoners in the US. They look similar, though you'd think school meals designed for growing kids into strong, healthy, capable adults would be significantly better, right? Let's dig in. Fortunately for public schools, there are federal regulations that require certain types of food be served at lunch every single day. These things include meat alternatives, grains, fruit, vegetables, and milk. However, there are no regulations regarding the quality of the food that's being served, just regulation around nutritional requirements. In other words, the USDA cares more about things like sodium levels, saturated fats, and cholesterol intake over things like fake sweeteners, herbicides, pesticides, GMOs, and artificial colors. The things that are killing us. Now, compare that to our prison lunch, where technically speaking, there are federal regulations touching on things like caloric intake, nutritional requirements, and offering alternative options for health and religious reasons. But budget constraints often lead to low quality food that just aims to feed the masses. Common foods given to our inmates include things like canned fruit, white bread, boiled cabbage, and highly processed meats like bologna, with milk typically only served during the morning hours. But just because there are regulations does not mean they're always enforced, with 75% of inmates sharing that they were served spoiled or rotten food at least once during their incarceration, and a whopping 94% of inmates sharing that they weren't served enough food to feel full. Being behind bars and out of the public eye, it's not surprising that rules get bent. One inmate recalling a time where she was served boiled cabbage every day for over a month. So, who wins this segment? I'm gonna have to give a point to public schools. Despite both being served highly processed food with little nutritional value, at least public schools are offering the ability for students to consistently have fresh fruit, and it seems that they more strictly enforce the guidelines of the USDA. I mean, what would happen to a school's reputation if 75% of the entire student body was served spoiled food? There'd be a lot of angry parents. Whether you're in school or a prison, there's a lot of mouths to feed. So where does the food even come from? Although some schools do participate in farm-to-table programs, most contract with large service providers like Chartwell's or Sodexo. Yeah. Scary. These companies purchase in bulk from national suppliers, which does make things more affordable, but at the expense of nutrient density. Aside from being nutrient deficient, which is a huge problem, let's be real, another major concern is how the food is actually grown. Factory farming methods introduce an immense amount of contaminants, like some of the things you see here. I mean, not really what we want our kids eating, right? Now, you might be thinking there's no possible way that our prison system is sourcing foods from higher quality places than our schools. And yeah, they're not. Just like our public schools, some prisons do have ways to source higher quality yummies for their inmates, but most are partnering with the same exact food companies that our schools are. It's frightening after you've seen what's in the food.
Stop talking.
Who wins this segment? Because some public schools and prisons offer alternative food sourcing, but most are partnering with the same companies. I've got to call this one a tie, with 1 point going to each. We all know the quote, "Let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food." but I think the US has grossly misunderstood this expression. With obesity and chronic illness on the rise since the 1970s, it's forced us to question what's causing it. Food being a pretty good guess, in my opinion. But does access to fresh fruit and guidelines around sodium levels really make a difference when it comes to our kids' health? Apparently not. Considering more than 40% of school-aged children still have at least one chronic health condition ranging from things like asthma to heart disease. Let's compare this to our prisoners who are in a correctional facility to do just that, correct their behavior. And according to Impact Justice, 95% of incarcerated people are eventually released. So isn't their physical and mental health a community concern? Despite this, one prison officer shared this quote, saying, "Over the last 2 decades, I've witnessed a weight gain in the offender population and more offenders become insulin dependent. Aside from the physical effects, there's also mental factors to consider when being fed slop." Natalia, who served time on the East Coast, said, "It always felt like feeding us was more like a duty. They don't care if people are really nourished. That affects you mentally." With such a sad segment, can we really declare a true winner? Not really, so I'm going to call another tie and give 1 point to each. In the end, public schools may have won by a single point, but it doesn't mean they're any good. We still have a lot of work to do before accepting what we're feeding our children and our inmates in the United States. What do you think? Should we be demanding more from our public school and prison food systems? I think so, but drop your thoughts in the comments, like and subscribe for more out-of-the-box conversations on health, wellness, and lifestyle. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Stay healthy, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.